What's up today? We got a big day. I've just got in from some dog walks. It's raining. I hope everyone's staying dry. We're gonna play a press conference that just happened with the Mass State Police. I don't know too much about it, but that it's a child P ring. We'll just call it that so we don't get whacked on YouTube and Facebook and all that. But definitely excited about later tonight. We're gonna have an old friend back on the show here, Robbie Roadsteamer. If you know Rob Patillo from the North Shore, he's going to be here tonight at 6 p.m. I'm looking forward to having my old friend on the show. He's got, I don't know, I bet he's got about 1 million followers now. It's unbelievable how many followers he has on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. He's just he's blown up over the last couple of years, and he's been at this for like 20 plus years. I've known him, and it's just great to see where he's at. It's going to be so much fun to check in with him tonight. So please come over here at 6 p.m. tonight. It's going to be fun. And don't let politics get in the way. If you don't agree with him on politics, it's okay. Just enjoy him. Just enjoy him. We had Howie Carr on the other night. Now we're going to the opposite. We have Robbie Roadsteamer here. So we're having the big guest. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. I like both of them. I like Howie and I like Robbie, and it's going to be fun tonight. So looking forward to Robbie Roadsteamer tonight at 6 p.m. My old friend. It's going to be, this guy is a comedian. He is so much fun. And you never know what he might do on my show. You never know. He might take over. I might actually get destroyed tonight on my own show by Robbie. We'll see. You never want to mess with a comedian, especially on his level. Oh, thank you, Laura. Thank you for being a new member. We're just going to play this Operation Firewall, this press conference that the Mass State Police had today. And then I'm going to redirect you to the 6 p.m. Robbie Roadsteamer show. Please come back. Make sure you hit the notification bell on the Robbie Roadsteamer. I'm going to pin it in the chat as well. Make sure you come back at 6 p.m., please. This is going to be special tonight. And we'll probably take some calls too. We'll probably like throw the link out there if people want to call, especially people from Massachusetts or Boston, people that have known Robbie for a long time. I would love to hear from you tonight on the Young Jerks tonight at 6 p.m. Should be exciting. Should be fun. Let's play a little of this video. I'm going to disappear and we'll just watch this video and see what's going on with the Mass State Police today. I have no idea. I haven't watched it. I've just heard a little bit about it, seen some posts about it. Let's watch this and see what's going on with the Mass State Police today.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here to cover this very important topic. My name is Colonel Jeffrey Noble, and I serve as the Superintendent of the Massachusetts State Police. Today, we are here to share the results of Operation Firewall, a coordinated initiative to address the growing problem of child pornography, child enticement, and other illegal activities. In a few moments, you'll hear from Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Tucker about the enormous effort and detail that went into this operation. Over the past several months, members of the State Police Division of Investigative Services used their training and skill to develop these cases and build a comprehensive operational plan. I want to take a moment and thank our law enforcement partners, too many to list by agency, numerous county, local, and federal agencies. And I also want to thank the support of the Healy Driscoll administration. Without the work and their work to secure dozens of complex warrants and coordinate the movements of several multifunctional law enforcement teams, this operation would not have been possible. You'll also hear from several of our district attorneys who will share their perspective about the impact of these cases in their jurisdictions. Whether you're a trooper, an officer, a prosecutor, seeing these cases through to the end requires tremendous resolve. They require you to set aside your personal feelings about these disturbing behaviors and follow the facts and evidence. These investigations also require us to overcome the evasive tactics of the suspects who conceal their identity and their activity with encryption or decoy IP addresses, and any emerging technology that enables them to go unchecked. As Colonel, I could not be more proud of our troopers and their partners. This work required the skill and technical expertise of several state police units, from the cybercrime unit to the high-risk victims unit, our tactical and fugitive enforcement teams, to every field trooper and uniformed trooper that assisted in this operation. These women in med did their jobs with excellence, with precision, and with professionalism. And they delivered exactly what the public expects from us, which is strong police investigations conducted with integrity and a singular focus on protecting victims from further harm. And in this instant, our most vulnerable victims, our children. We will continue to use every resource at our disposal to combat this criminal activity. And in addition to the casework Colonel Tucker will describe shortly, residents should know how hard our troopers in the cybercrime unit and the high-risk victims unit work day after day throughout the year to get this type of work done. They epitomize the best of our profession, raising their hands to do this work in the name of the victims. Working on these cases and reviewing this explicit material comes with an enormous personal cost. As we recognize the indelible scourge of these crimes on victims and their families, I also want to publicly acknowledge the members of these units for all that they endure. Last, I want to close by raising an important reminder for parents and for caregivers. As the results of Operation Firewall illustrate the power of collaboration among law enforcement, we also recognize that we cannot do it alone. It takes a partnership. It takes a partnership with law enforcement and the parents and the caregivers. We all need to work together to mitigate this growing problem of child pornography and child enticement. Every parent in Massachusetts needs to know what's on their children's devices. They need to monitor who they're speaking to online, and they need to set clear expectations that it's never okay to create or share explicit material of yourself or another person. As a father of 3 myself, I understand how difficult those conversations can be, but they're essential. When parents, teachers, coaches, mentors, and law enforcement work together, we create the firewall that keeps our children safe. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being here. It is now my honor to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Tucker, Commander of our Investigative Division Services. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel Noble. As the Colonel mentioned, my name is Dan Tucker. I am the Commander of the Division of Investigative Services here at the Massachusetts State Police. Operation Firewall was created to address the growing problem of possession, production, and sharing of child sexual abuse material, which is more commonly known as child pornography. This coordinated enforcement also targeted child enticement and other illegal activities in which children are victimized. This operation spanned 3 days last week, targeting dozens of suspects across the state, yielding significant results. The Massachusetts State Police, along with our partners, made 56 total arrests, seized 229 devices from suspects, and executed 34 residential search warrants across every part of the state. Of those 56 arrests, 25 of them were for possession of child pornography, and 19 people were charged with enticement of a child after communicating with an undercover law enforcement officer they thought was an underage child and agreeing to meet for sex. Our troopers arrested 7 suspects who had outstanding warrants for failure to register as a sex offender. The remaining 5 arrests were made for outstanding warrants for rape and assault and battery on a child. If you think you may know the type of person who commits these types of crimes, I can assure you there is no profile when it comes to child exploitation. Operation Firewall brought us to nearly 40 communities across every part of the Commonwealth. We arrested successful business people, homeowners, spouses, and parents of children. 55 of the suspects are men, and 1 is a woman. The suspects arrested range in age of 18 to 75. These suspects could be your neighbors. Our investigations found that the suspects who were arrested had an alarming amount of illegal content on their electronic devices. Some made arrangements with undercover law enforcement officers and showed up at a location with the intent of having sex with an underage child for money. This type of exploitation of innocent children must stop. One of the reasons we planned Operation Firewall was to bring awareness to the fact that internet crimes against children are on the rise. The Massachusetts Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force received more than 1,000 tips in just the past week. which is indicative of a trend we've been seeing for years now. In 2020, we received 5,613 cyber tips. We are on track to receive more than 20,000 in 2025. That is an approximately 270% increase since the pandemic. I want our message to be clear. If you are seeking to possess child sexual abuse material or to sexually assault a child, the Massachusetts State Police and our partners will find you. Operation Firewall is just the beginning, and from this operation, several cases remain ongoing, and we anticipate there will be more arrests in the coming days. This operation wouldn't have been successful without the hardworking men and women of the State Police who worked tirelessly to effect these arrests. I'd like to commend the Massachusetts State Police Division of Investigative Services, the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force, our Cybercrime Unit, the High-Risk Victims Unit, the State Police Detective Units assigned to the District Attorney's offices, and the Violent Fugitive Apprehension Section, the STOP team, and so many others who worked for weeks on this mission. I'd also like to thank the many local police departments who assisted us with these arrests. Finally, a special thank you to our prosecutorial partners at the District Attorney's Office and the Attorney General's Office, who supported this operation since the inception. Now I'd like to turn it over to Worcester County District Attorney Joseph Rose.
Thank you, Colonel Tucker. Colonel Noble, I appreciate this hard work, applaud you for your efforts. And I'd like to thank my other district attorneys and the investigators, the IT team, the staff, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the many local law enforcement agencies who came together to do this. As DAs, we can tell you, this is one of the hardest parts of our job. It's something you never get used to. It's something you never really understand. This statewide operation, this coordinated effort was second to none. It's helping out, as the Colonel Noble said, it helps our most vulnerable, the children. It helps them from people who are preying on them, exploiting them. It helps them in ways that you just can't imagine. Because in addition to this, every time one of those photos is shared, these families, these victims, they're our sons, they're our daughters, they're our nieces and nephews. It creates increased trauma for them every time that these things are put out on the internet. And one of the effects of that trauma is that many people develop substance use disorders and get involved in criminal justice themselves because of the trauma that occurs with them as a result of being a victim. We must continue to do this work, and I know all of the DA's offices have prevention programs. We get into the schools on a daily basis, and we talk to the kids about talking to a trusted adult. And it is our #1 most requested program, and that's internet safety and internet predators. We tell them to talk to responsible adults. We tell them that they're not alone in this, and most of all, if any of the families out there feel that they have a problem, call the state police, call your local DA's office, ask for the help, because we know too often this goes under the radar until there's an effort like this to bring it forth. And again, I applaud everyone involved in this effort. And it never happens alone. There's an old African proverb, go alone, go fast, go together, go further. And I thank you, Colonel. Colonel, I thank everyone involved in this joint effort. Thank you.
It is now my honor to introduce District Attorney Shagru. District Attorney Shagru. Thank you.
First, before I start, I just want to say I started prosecuting child abuse cases in 1986. Times have changed a lot over those years. In 1993, I established the first children's advocacy center in the state of Massachusetts, which has been operating now for over 32 years. So I was so pleased when the state police were willing to take this task on. We started 3 years ago doing this in Berkshire County called To Catch a Predator, and we started that and we've been very successful. So again, first off, I want to thank the Massachusetts State Police for inviting me to speak today. The efforts that went into this recent operation were nothing short of tremendous. When I first began my career as a prosecutor in 1986, it was working in the child abuse unit in Hampden County in Springfield. Working in this unit profoundly impacted my life, including my perspective on the role of law enforcement and the role of how we can proactively protect our children. Over the years, the tools and technologies used to investigate and identify child predators have significantly advanced. Yet the true mission of this work remains exactly the same as when I started. Protect our most vulnerable population, our children, and to identify and to stop those who would harm them. This past week's operation reflects that mission in action. Since becoming the Berkshire District Attorney in January of 2023, our office, including the Berkshire State Police Detective Unit, the Berkshire County Law Enforcement Task Force, and the North Adams Police Department. We have been running multiple operations, such as this one this past week. These independent operations, beginning in 2023, have resulted in the arrest and prosecution of 19 perpetrators prior to last week. This kind of work is not easy. It's time-consuming, it's taxing, it's expensive, and requires an extraordinary level of care and precision. But the results, keeping our children and our communities safe, make every moment worth it. I want to recognize every single Massachusetts state trooper and detective, along with local law enforcement, who supported MSP during this week's operation. Your dedication to the mission was evident. The Berkshire State Police Detective Unit, supported by first and foremost the North Adams Police Department, as well as the Berkshire County Law Enforcement Task Force. And uniform members throughout Massachusetts State Police, we were able to apprehend, just last week alone, 20 suspects in this operation, including 12 child enticement arrests, 7 arrests for failure to register as sex offender, and 1 warrant arrest for outstanding a warrant for multiple rape charges. Beginning in the most western region of Massachusetts, where we often apprehend suspects from multiple states due to our close proximity to New York, Vermont, and Connecticut, these men that are arrested in this operation include men from outside not only the county, but even outside of our state. The work from this past week not only helps to keep my community, the Berkshire community, safe, but the surrounding area as well. As we move forward, the Berkshire District Attorney's Office, I surely will continue to address and build on these efforts. It's my hope that we can continue to strengthen our statewide partnership and to continue to dedicate resources to this cause. Through this work, we can create communities where children grow up free from exploitation. I want to again thank the state police. I want to thank every single member that was out there working last week for your collaboration and for the work and the hard efforts that went place on a very safe takedown of all these particular cases. Again, thank you all, and I hope and look forward to more work in the future.
Thank you, DA. It's now my honor to introduce DA Ryan from Middlesex County.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. I join in the thanks to all of the agencies who participated in this operation. I would suggest that what happened over the past week is a perfect example of what the public has a right to expect. And that is agencies coming together from diverse communities, from chiefs of police from various size departments, making their officers available, the identification of a problem, the creation of a collaborative plan, and then the execution of that plan. You heard that the plan was put into place over 3 days last week. I can assure you that those 3 days followed multiple weeks of planning, preparation, and collaboration so that it went flawlessly. That is us doing our job, carrying out the public service protection that is our mission. We will, as district attorneys, continue to move forward on these cases. We've now begun to bring individuals to accountability for their actions. But perhaps the most important part of this, and I'm grateful to all of our media partners who are here today, is really for parents thinking about, having heard this story, is the problem solved? It is certainly not. You've heard numbers, you've heard the statistics, you've heard that the people doing this can literally be everyone. So as a parent, a caregiver, there are certain things that really need to be done. Probably the first, which is the simplest, there is not a parent or caregiver who has not at some point taught their children not to go with strangers, to beware of strangers. Where children often lose their place is they forget that people they are talking to or communicating with on devices are strangers as well. It is important to make that clear to children, particularly adolescent children who may feel they're in a place where they have a little bit more independence. They're able to conduct, as so many of us do, conduct lots of their life online. It's important to make clear that message that just because they're communicating with someone does not mean that they know them or that they are who they say they are. The second is, many times parents will tell us, and it is certainly true, Media changes so fast, social media changes so quickly, that it is hard to keep up. There are lots of resources, and every district attorney's office here in Massachusetts has on their website resources that can help you to identify what those sources are. There, you really, as a parent, have to know what's out there. You do not have the luxury of being uninformed about what's available. Also, think about the rules that you set for children around devices, where they can be used, who they can be talking to. Make part of every day having those devices in a public place. Ideally at night, if their phones and other devices stay in a public place, they charge in a public place, so that you really can be doing that monitoring. You know, you heard mention of what it means for children when they get caught up in these kinds of things, and the results really are devastating for kids. But what I think as parents we often shy away from are the uncomfortable conversations. It's my hope that seeing the reporting that will happen today and in the coming days about this event will spark those conversations, because it does not frighten children is what is usually our fear of why we want to bring this up. Giving kids clear ideas about what is acceptable and not acceptable really empowers them, helps them to feel safe, and gives them the confidence by the climate you have created to come forward to report what may have happened to them, approaches that may have been made to them, or more importantly, to a friend of theirs that may not have that same support. So I am really grateful for the coverage we're receiving with respect to this today, and I again join in the thanks for all of the collaboration that preceded it. Thank you.
We'll take some questions on topic. I'll start with Bob.
Yeah, I just want to get a sense of, after this operation, 3 days, 56 total arrests, do you have a better understanding of how expensive child abuse, child porn is in Massachusetts? If that's what you found after 3 days, how big of an issue is this?
Well, one thing that we have seen, just like you heard with the data, the number of tips that we are receiving has increased quickly and rapidly over the last several years, which means that us in law enforcement, we have to adapt at the same pace. And what this operation shows is that we're up for the challenge. And regardless of the scope, regardless of the breadth of the efforts by these individuals, we will match it, we will double down, and we will run towards it. I would just add, too, that the goal for all of us up here is prevention. Yes, we will continue to apprehend and put criminals in prison and in jail and bring charges when it's appropriate. But at the end of the day, our goal is to prevent this from happening in the first place. Thank you.
Were you surprised by how much of this was out there?
I don't think, unfortunately, any of us are surprised, candidly speaking. Thank you.
I can tell you that we've been doing this for 3 years. And every time we do it, it's just a matter of catching fish in a barrel. Well, we set up at a hotel in the Berkshires one, and we put it out there, and we did it for 3 or 4 days in a row, and that's when we had picked up 20 individuals as well coming in. So it is very prevalent. We picked up one last night, even after all the publicity of this going on. So we're going to continue to do the work. But the biggest thing we need is for the information to be out in the public, so parents can be aware. We do a lot of work with prevention on internet safety, but this is very important to everybody, so that talk to your kids. These people are out there. They're on these phones. They're trying to get in there, and they're trying to lure kids to have sex with them. And it's a very, very disturbing trend. We've seen it, but I am happy that we are really addressing it. And like I said, in doing this almost 40 years now, I've seen so much different things that have come over the years. And the internet is dangerous, and the amount of devices kids have is concerning, so we have to protect our children. So I commend everybody for doing this, and I was so pleased when everybody talked about doing it, because we had been doing it, and we're going to continue to do it, but this has now become a statewide effort, and we're making big changes, and big things are happening, so thank you.
Well, one of the other things on that, just briefly, oftentimes, they're very skillful at what they do. These predators do. They'll get someone to take a picture. You know, as we go into the schools, we tell them, if you wouldn't take a picture and put it on your kitchen, put it on your refrigerator in your kitchen, don't put it out on the internet, because what they then do, and we've all seen it, they'll extort these kids. You know, I'm going to release this at your school if you don't do this. If you don't come over here and meet me, I'm going to release these pictures. This is what, just one of the things that gets to you so much is how vulnerable these kids are and how expert they are at preying upon them. And I applaud the state police. I applaud all our law enforcement partners, the chief from Worcester, Adams, the Middlesex chiefs. Everyone doing this has the same purpose. We're all in this in this to serve, to help people, to make things better. I applaud them. This isn't the first time they've done it either, but they're very low-key about it. This is a good thing, and it only gets better when they continue to do the work they do to help people, to make it better for our kids, to make it better for our families.
Do you get a sense of a lot of these arrests, these repeat offenders, how frustrating is that for law enforcement? You know, you're just about making the same arrest over and over again, and what you've done to really get these criminals off the street to protect their children.
One of the things you look at, and I got a different perspective. So I did 17 years as a defense attorney. You see this, and you wonder, is this an enticement? Is this entrapment? No. A lot of these people, they will see come up in these chat rooms time and time again. So it's not them going out per se in trying to find people that aren't going to act on these urges. They're going out to say, and they do see these repeat offenders coming up in the chat rooms. I'm not speaking to any particular defendant, but what they do is in a way, is getting the people that continually go to these sites, continually prey on the kids and get them off the street.
And the interesting thing about that, there's also lots of people where we had a vice president of a bank from Greenfield came into the Berkshires to do that, and nothing on the radar before. So we're seeing people who are quietly doing this and doing it behind our backs. So, but we do see the repeat offenders, and we are putting them in jail, and that's the key. Send the message out there. But we are seeing people that we weren't aware of that were doing it in all walks of life, from 18 to 75. So that just shows you it's out there everywhere. But again, I applaud this effort.
We're seeing more arrests. We're seeing more arrests to come. Is Operation Firewall still up and running then?
I can address that and say that what this operation has shown is that the state police are dedicated to leverage our entire force. You know, this is a big agency. We have a large capacity to do these investigations, to support our local partners, and we certainly are willing to utilize every resource possible. This is a step. This is by no means the end. And as a result of this investigation, there will be many more that will continue, and these efforts are going to continue long past today.
I have a question for the Berkshire County.
Sure.
So do you have any response to the recent arrest of the Cheshire police chief, and was this part of that? I didn't see his name on the list.
His name is not on the list because it wasn't, he solicited for an adult, so he did not solicit for a child. He did meet this, tried thinking he was meeting this person at a high school, a junior high school parking lot. So it didn't get to that stage, but it was still a chief of police that was looking to pay for sex and doing human trafficking. So we've addressed that. He was being arraigned this morning, so he has been suspended. But again, here we are as a chief of police in the town of Cheshire. So, you know, we're addressing it. It was not, that's why it's not listed in this, but this type of program gives me that benefit where I wouldn't have known that. And I've got a chief in my community that's doing that has told us at least 5 times in the past that he's done that in the last 5 months. So we're dealing with somebody that's dealing with trying to solicit prostitution, and that's just not acceptable to me.
What does that tell you about the extent and the scope of this problem with the chief of police?
That's the problem. I can't say it enough. And again, going on 40 years of being involved in this stuff, is that it never surprises me the type of people that you get in here. You know, it surprised me as teachers, and it could be that it's you know, coaches and things along those lines. So it doesn't surprise me at all. But that's why we need the public awareness, because the parents need to know, and the kids need to know that these people are out there, and they're going to try to target your kids. And they do it just on regular lines. And these are on places where there are people looking for sex. But they do it daily on all these type of platforms, all these type of, you know, any type of social media. That's where they're hitting, and it's easy for them. And so that's why it's so important for parents to keep an eye on what your kids are doing. Keep reviewing those. Keep the parental controls on, and make sure your kids aren't talking to these people that are really, they're very adept at what they're doing. They're master manipulators, and they get these kids in there. And as D.A. Early said to you, they then, at that point in time, once they've got you with a photograph or something, they're then using you in order to make this crime go even further, to then continue to have a relationship on a sexual nature and abuse our kids. So it's a big problem, but again, awareness means so much.
We'll go to the last one here.
Is there anything you can divulge about the scope of these
I won't get into specifics through our comms team. We're going to release as much information on each defendant that we're prepared to release, but I will make a statement towards, one lesson we have learned is that we have seen them all. Yes, we have repeat offenders, and yes, there's a reason why we have the protocols and the systems in place to deal with those repeat offenders, but we are also eyes wide open for those that we haven't encountered before. So this operation will continue. We will be wide open. We will look in every corner. We will look under every rock. And whether they're repeat offenders or they're first-time offenders, if anybody in the Commonwealth even thinks about engaging in this type of activity, rest assured they will meet a member of the Massachusetts State Police or one of our partners. Thank you very much.
One more, maybe it's too specific, but I just want to find out if any of these people on the list were involved in daycare, and if they were, should those parents be concerned?
As far as the specifics, like I said, as far as the employment, I'm going to go through our comms team on that, and we will release the appropriate information for the employment records. As far as our posture towards daycares and our enforcement efforts, I'll ask DA Ryan perhaps to speak to that.
And this isn't something that obviously people are always concerned about who they are leaving their children with, whether it's in a home setting or a licensed daycare operation. And there are lots of resources for parents. There are lots of ways to be checking who you're leaving your children with. And that is all something that the Commonwealth provides in keeping our children safe. But the biggest way to keep your children safe is to, if they are old enough, have those conversations. Pay attention. Talk to your pediatrician. Look at those resources. Be aware of what you should be monitoring. If you have a child who's too young to be telling you about what happens, know what signs are that you should look for. Awareness is what protects our kids. So these resources where you can run background checks or get information about people are very helpful, but you know your child best. And it's important to be watching them, watching their reactions to people, and also having very open conversations with them about what is appropriate behavior and what is not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Electronic storage detection canine. So Griffin is actually trained to find, Griffin and Sergeant Nash go on these warrants, and is trained to find the cell phone, hard drive, things like that. So Griffin goes as part of our cybercrime unit to focus on these search warrants to try to find electronic devices that subjects are going to be hiding. Take you for a little walk. Thank you.
Dog and pony show. Think we've had enough of that. That was like it's seriously like a dog and pony show. You can tell that they're. It feels like they're feeling the heat for Proctor. They needed to do this press conference today. They're like, this is the day. This is. We need to start the week off with something good for once. We know it's going to be a rough week. Let's do the child P investigation. Let's bring that out. Let's roll it out. I mean, good for you guys. You finally did something good. Like, but I saw a lot of comments in the chat. Like, what about Sandra? What about Robert Devine? What about all this other stuff? What about Paul Tucker? Like, I saw all the comments. You all get it. I mean, it is gross. They should be doing this every day. Like, this is like shooting fish in a barrel for them. That's the problem. This shit. They'll do it like, a long investigation over a year or two, and then be like, oh, we're done now. It's like you could be doing this every single day. We see these YouTubers that do it like every day. They catch somebody. Yeah, they had like 50 people they arrested. How much money is that per person? Just sitting there in that press conference today. I know. 6 p.m. tonight. Big show. I'm really looking forward to this. You can tell Robbie Road Steamer, Rob Patillo, old friend, known him for 20 plus years. Used to book his band back in the day. Booked him on the Hemp Fest a bunch of times, bunch of events. I used to just see him all the time. I'd be around him. He booked me on his TV show. I helped him get some sponsors back then on the TV show. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This guy's been everywhere. You've probably seen him on Boston 25 or Nesson during Red Sox games, or the TV show that was on Nesson, Sox Appeal. He had a night with Stifler's mom. I think it was at the Wilbur Theater one night. That was wild. Uh, he's been on TV with Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, he's done movies, and he was friends with China from the WWE. You might have seen some other wrestlers, in the whatever we call that thing, the picture tonight on the YouTube. You'll see him with Jimmy Hart from WWE. He's done things with him. He's been all over the place. Vermin Supreme. I could just keep going. Like Ernie Bach. He's been doing his videos for years. You might have remembered him for like 25 years ago when YouTube first started, where he was doing videos where he was playing video games with Aaron the King Wizard. Remember those? Those went viral. He's been on like hundreds probably of covers of magazines and newspapers. He's got like 200,000 plus followers on Twitter. I mean on Instagram. 200,000 plus on TikTok. He's huge on YouTube. He's got like probably, I'd say he's got like almost 1 million followers on social media. And he's an old friend, and he's from Boston, and he's from Danvers, Massachusetts, specifically where my parents are from. He's the king of the North Shore. He's got the Route 1 dinosaur on his arm. He made the North Shore cool, and that Route 1 dinosaur cool. He was the first one. People have written books about it now. Like, he's a trendsetter, and I can't wait to have him on the show tonight. An old friend, 6 p.m. tonight. You better be here. He's going to be, you never know what might happen. He's a comedian, musician, actor, producer, activist. That's what he's known for a lot right now, is activism. We're going to play some of his videos singing to cops tonight. I can't wait for Robbie tonight. It's going to be fun. I figured I would close the show this afternoon, this little impromptu stream we're doing, with our most recent live, where Ashley called in, and I'm just going to play the video if you missed it the other day. Ashley Bell called in. This was her second media interview. The night before, she had done News Nation. She called in unannounced on our show. We didn't know this was going to happen, about Robert Devine. And if you haven't seen it, I want people to see this, and I want, if you can, support Ashley. Send her some love, because what she's doing is very brave. There are other victims, we believe, out there of Robert Devine, and we know they're all watching. So definitely send her some support and love. We're also going to redirect you so that you can be there at 6 p.m. You'll be there a couple hours early, but make sure you hit the notification bell for 6 p.m. with Robbie Road Steamer, Rob Patillo, coming in tonight at 6 p.m. We may take some of your calls too. If you love Robbie, if you know about Robbie, if you've been a friend of his, if you're a Bostonian or from Massachusetts, or you've seen him back 20 years ago at a show, this is a good night. You can call in and talk to Robbie tonight. It's going to be fun. So we'll hopefully take some calls from him. So let's just play this. There we go. She's coming up. Hey, Ashley, how you doing?
Hey, How are you?
You good? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Best I can. Let me step out.
I mean, our chat today is very proud of what you did. Were you watching that? Did you see the comments?
I was watching it late. I tried not to look at the comments, but it's probably the first time that everyone wasn't making up crazy, insane lies and rumors about me. But yeah, well, I'm going back in.
You're getting a lot of love. I'm even putting the comments on there's like one, Ashley,
Not
love. We support you, Ashley. In our chat today, you are.
You know, it's so weird. People are like, oh, she was mean to Rita. What? Do you guys have any idea what that woman said about me? Anyways, yeah. Yeah, it's been crazy, but it is
What do you want to say about everything right now? Anything you want to share with us that you want to get off your chest?
there was a lot of things that I wasn't able to cover and say. One being you know, the day that I call it the closet incident. After that happened, the Farwells followed me out the door, and
Who did? Farwell?
what?
Who followed you out the door?
Matt and Billy.
Okay.
And they felt so bad for me. They came out, they embraced me, they hugged me, and they were sweet boys. I'm gonna say right now, they were sweet boys. And they sent me on my way. I walked home in the rain, crying. But yeah, I'll never forget that day. Yeah, there's a lot more that I wasn't able to speak about on that show. And the reason why I popped on that show is because of how absolutely fucking disgusted I was at the lies Rob Devine said at that hearing. That man is a total, complete piece of shit weasel. He lied about everything. It's just sick. It's sick what he did in front of his lawyer. He embarrassed his lawyer, and he lied.
It must have felt good to be on national TV to tell the truth.
And I never planned to, but when I watched that video, which I never intended to watch, and I purposely told myself I was not going to watch it, but someone I respect very well and love said, "You're a big part of part 6," and I, you know me, I popped right on. I was like, "What is it?" I thought for sure he wasn't going to remember me. I thought he was going to pretend he didn't remember. Not only that, he remembered details that I didn't even remember. So I know damn well that he knows he's a fucking liar.
What kind of details did he remember that you didn't?
When I heard him say the age gap comment, my jaw dropped because it took me right back. It actually I hate to say this word, it triggered me. I could not believe he remembered that. He remembered how the door was, how the chair and the desk was in front of the door. What else did he say? He remembered the closet in explicit detail. That closet's gone. The gym's destroyed and gone. It's redone. I cannot believe that he thought he could get away with leaving out the fact that he called me a knockout and a hottie. I was 12 years old, obsessed. So he's obviously a fucking scumbag. who, I've actually talked to a lot of Canton cops about him back well over a decade ago, because what I did was I would ask everyone about him. I would say, "Oh, you know Rob Devine? Do you know Rob Devine?" Every single person would call him bad names. Let's just put it that way. I won't say the word out loud. F starts with an F. He was not liked. He was not respected, and that came out in his career, in his professional career, and what he did. So,
Hell, with how many issues he had with the other police officers in his own department. What about law
one more
enforcement?
thing. I
Because
want to say
I
one
know.
more important
Oh,
thing.
go ahead.
I told authorities this when they called me and they wanted to know. And I'll never forget this because I thought I was his special girl. I had numerous girls coming up to me, threatening me and warning me not to talk to him anymore. And these are girls that were 13 and 14 years old. Some of them are dead, by the way.
Shit.
A lot of girls in his car, and I would see it, and my fucking week was ruined. I'll never forget. And girls watching, they know the feeling when you're upset about a guy and you're jealous. They don't forget it. I'll never ever forget it. A lot of young girls in his car. Okay, a lot of them. And I'll never forget the girls coming up to me and saying, "Don't talk to Officer Devine ever again." I'll never forget it. And I thought for sure, I never wanted to come out and talk about it. I told my friends and family, everyone knew I did not want to come out and talk about it. But I knew there were others, so I said, I'll be the one, because I was absolutely disgusted with what happened to that Sandra girl. And no, whatever. No one else came out, but it's kind of a Stoughton cultural thing where everyone keeps quiet in Stoughton, and I get that, because cops, you can't trust cops because they're class traitors. You can't trust them, but it is what it is.
You said that was my next question about the authorities. Who did you speak to about this, like in terms of law enforcement?
So I spoke to John Fanning, about it. This was in 2022 before I realized. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about Fanning. Is he a scumbag? I don't know. He's a cop. So I spoke to Fanning about it. I spoke to 2 PIs about it. And then I talked to the FBI that was contacting me. I thought it was about Karen Reed, so I ignored them. But about 6 months later, they called me again, and I answered. And next thing you know, I'm meeting with Sinead Castrata, who is amazing. And her investigation report is so thorough and so disturbing. So I told her everything. There's a lot more that obviously I didn't cover on that show, and that was my first public appearance speaking about it. And I never, I was always so terrified of Sandra's family thinking I was centering myself, because I'm not centering myself. I never want to. It's Sandra who everyone needs to focus on. I just wanted more girls to come out and show everyone what a fucking bastard this guy is. I hope they do, because I know there's more.
They do. I think you're leading on that. I'm glad you called in today. It's good to kind of just get it out there,
Yeah.
And that was phenomenal last night. It was unbelievable, Ashley. Did we lose her? I think we lost her, unfortunately. Oh, we still got you in audio, maybe. You know what I want to do is I want to go back to that video too, where we play her interview on News Nation. Kind of maybe close the show with that. So I do want to just kind of give her more support today. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she might come back on. Yes. not easy for her. You can tell. This is troubling for her. Oh, this is Michael Murphy here. I love these guys. They get all upset. I'm glad you're here, Michael. I'm very glad you're here. I'm glad you're upset. This is the funniest one. He says, "LOL, liberal Mike Crawford. This clown gonna lie about the government shutdown caused by shitbag Democrats." I don't know. I don't really focus on that. That's not really what I do here. But if Robbie wants to talk about some of that shit, whatever. Like we let Howie go the other night. It's like we're an open forum for our guests. If they want to talk about that stuff, we'll let them tonight. One thing I'll say about the government shutdown and the Republicans, since you want to be that guy, Michael Murphy, I want to know why you want to raise our healthcare premiums. Because every single one of us that pays those premiums, I pay for my health insurance. I'm a self-employed person. A lot of us get that insurance that we pay for, that health insurance, through like the Health Connector or some kind of health care exchange. I'm talking about small business, self-employed people, not people that work at jobs where their employer offers health care. I'm talking about people that buy and pay their own premiums like me. You guys want to raise my taxes. You basically took away the deduction. So like now I'm not going to get a deduction for those healthcare premiums, apparently. And that's apparently the Republicans. So you want to come in and talk shit, answer that question, bud. Because that's all I care about. I care about my health insurance costs. I care about the cost of food. You guys said that the costs were going to go down. Have you been to the grocery store lately? My lobster rolls that I get, those cheap market basket lobster rolls, they used to be like $7. Now they're $10. Everything's gone up. I don't know what you guys are. You guys are like out to lunch. Have you looked at the polls lately? So you guys got a lot to not run on, I guess. You want to call people names and stuff? I'm a moderate. I'm an independent, and so far I think you guys are failing on the economy. I mean, thank God I own a lot of stocks. My stock market's going up, but I don't know how poor people are surviving. I don't know how people are paying their bills right now. So we could talk about that tonight, maybe, if you really want to talk about it. Yeah, the subsidies were passed under Biden, and they made sense. Like to reduce healthcare costs so people can actually afford the health. Like that makes sense to get people to pay premiums. Why should health insurance premiums be taxable? I don't get that. That's insane to me. You're going to give a tax break to Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. They got a tax break, but my tax is going up. So I don't know. Like, it's kind of wild to me. A lot of people say I'm just scraping by. I mean, personally, I'm doing fine. Like you say, I'm a peasant. I'm actually doing pretty good because of the stock market. We might do a stock market show. I don't know if you guys looked at the stock picks that I had for January 1st and what they've done. Like Micron, MU. It's now my biggest holding. Nvidia, Micron. They're fucking killing it. Are they doubling the standard deduction? See, that would be something I would be happy about. If they did that and got rid of the subsidies, then it's a wash. But I haven't heard that. I'd like to hear more on that. But I don't really focus on this stuff. That's the key. Like that's not generally what I cover. But you brought it up. You had to get hot and heavy. So yeah, that's what I say. What the duck? Why can't we just talk about things without people coming in and going, "You're a liberal. You're evil." I'm not even liberal. I'm pretty freaking centered. I'm like down the middle. If you notice my show, I have people on the left and the right on my show. Always have. Even from, there was a moment when I was a hardcore, pretty much like a Republican libertarian, actually. And I would still have leftists on the show. And then I went more left and I still had Republicans on the show. Now I consider myself an independent. It depends on what we're talking about, issue by issue. Personally, I am conservative, actually. You're not going to see me, you know, look at me. Look at the way I live. I'm pretty boring. And I love stocks. I'm a financial guy. Come on. How liberal can I really be? But we're gonna have that conversation if Robbie wants to have it. I don't know what Robbie's gonna want to talk about tonight. He's got charges from the feds. That's probably what we'll talk about tonight. All right. Yeah, he needed the attention. I gave it to him. Now he's probably upset. Oh, it's always Trump did something in his first term. This is so funny. You guys are just I don't trust anything you guys say. I don't because usually the shit that you put out is not true. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, we will do another stock show. Yeah, the Howie Carr interview is great, and now we have Robbie on. That's the key to my show here. I have the biggest stars on the left and the right locally. Like, give me a break. And they're my friends. I love it. Look, he's still calling names. I love that. You still go. I don't think they've signed anything. What have they actually done? I haven't seen anything. Is that like the healthcare plan that Trump? Where's Trump's healthcare plan? Remember that one? I mean, that's the thing that's killing me about Trump. It was supposed to be good for like taxes and business and the economy. He's not even good at that. Cost of living's going through the roof for people. I mean, they're talking about 50-year mortgages now. That's a solution. 50-year mortgages. Well, you know what, Michael? I'm gonna say the Obamacare at first. I was against it. When it first came out, I was like putting out videos like this is the end. They're bankrupting us. They're fine. I didn't like the fine. They were fining people if you didn't do it, right? If you look at the cost now, like my most recent health enrollment, I was shocked the prices went down. So the health insurance actually, at least in Massachusetts, there's like a new plan that I have that's pretty damn cheap compared to. So I think it's actually started to work, at least in Massachusetts. I don't know about other states, but it seems like it's been working. There's like a partners plan. That's what I'm in. I'm in the partners plan. As long as I go to a partners hospital facility, it's like no referral, no big deal. It's good. It's a cheap plan too. All right, so no more politics right now. Like I said, I don't usually cover this stuff. What do I usually do? I'm talking local politics. I'm talking mostly local issues, corruption, and usually that's against Democrats in the state. Let's be serious. So, but tonight we're going to have fun with Robbie Roadstein, my old friend. Yeah, and Obamacare did help so many people. I mean, I don't think I have health insurance right now because I had cancer, right? Like, remember before that if you had cancer, they would deny you for health care? So I wish we had health care for everybody, though. I think it could even be better, but I think that's one thing we should actually invest in. I do. Schools and healthcare. But let's play this. I just want to get to this video. This is the most important part, not this politics shit. Yeah, I would say I'm moderate, dude, because I vote for people of both parties. Like, can you say that, Michael? I want to know if Michael, do you ever vote for the other party ever? I do. I look at who's the best candidate, and I often vote for challengers if there's a strong challenger. Like if Maura Healey runs again and there's an actual sane Republican there, I'll probably vote for the Republican. I'm independent, you know? All right, let's watch this.
Years before we all learned the name Sandra Birchmore, Ashley Bell was a member of the same Kids Explorers program in the Stoughton, Massachusetts Police Department. And while Sandra's experience was uniquely tragic, having ended up pregnant and murdered after years of being passed around by police officers, Ashley sees some pretty disturbing parallels in her experience with those cops. And Ashley Bell joins me now live. Ashley, thank you so much for talking to me tonight. I'm really sorry that we're getting together under these circumstances. It breaks my heart when I think about what Sandra went through. And now I'm reading about your background, and it's breaking my heart that you as a 12-year-old went through some pretty unnerving experiences. Let's just start with what it was like in that Explorers program. Can you walk me through it a little bit, what it was like for you, especially with Robert Devine heading it up?
Yeah. So, in the Explorers program, there were just a lot of blurred lines between mentorship and friendship, and, between authority figure and a guy you can swear in front of, he had a regiment. We ran throughout the center of town, but then he would smack his wife in the ass in front of us and swear about his colleagues, and it was just we felt like adults in the program. It was just a little different.
And interesting. Yeah, that's interesting that you're 12 years old and he's speaking to you in your recollection as an adult, like you said, smacking his wife's butt in front of you guys. Was it the kind of thing that a lot of the girls in the program had crushes on him because he had this sort of, swagger among these little girls?
Honestly, there weren't many girls in the program when I was in it. I was in the first class. There was maybe one or two. There was one other girl. She liked him, but he was more girls with very, very troubled homes liked Rob Devine. Rob Devine surrounded himself with girls who admired him that also came from difficult homes. Not the girls that played sports with a mom and a dad that loved them. Let's just put it that way.
That to me is a red flag right there. And you can't always say it's like a red flag because sometimes people kind of specialize in working with kids who are troubled, and they can be that kind of positive influence. But there's also a lot of predators out there that's exactly who they target. So
That way.
Tell me about the basketball games. I think you refer to them as touchy-feely basketball games. Give me an idea of what you mean by that.
I always want to be clear, he never touched us in inappropriate spots, but it was just maybe not the greatest thing to do as a 30-year-old man alone in a gym with a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds. It was just a lot of bumping and grabbing big bear arms around you, as a in limerence over him at the time. I loved it, I didn't know.
So as a 12-year-old, you develop a crush on Rob Devine, as you call him, but he should have been Officer Devine.
Right,
I get it, Rob Devine. He should have been Officer Devine to 12-year-olds, but he's a resource officer. He's really involved, right? He's running the DARE program. He does the open gym after school. He seems to be very involved in all aspects of school. So if you're developing this crush, is he doing anything to stanch that or back you off and set you straight? Because this
is the big question right here. Because I got to say, I was a school teacher. And there was 1 year, mostly I was a substitute teacher. I bounced around trying to get a full-time job. But I was coaching. I was a high school, wrestling coach, assistant coach, and then had a head coach at the high school I went to. And when I was coaching at my old high school as the head coach, the last year of that coaching, I had a full 1 year maternity leave I was covering. So I was basically hired for 1 year, but, didn't have a job the next year, And so I was there every day at the same school with the same kids and also coaching the boys on the wrestling team and a couple girls, actually. They didn't last, but we did have a couple girls that wrestled for a little bit. So basically, I was there every day, and I was a young school teacher. I'm the wrestling coach. There were a couple girls in high school, ninth graders, who treated me like that, who acted like I was some type of rock star or something, and they would sometimes scream my name. They would say, "Mr. Crawford," and it would honestly, I would so discourage it to the point where I was being like, "I'm gonna call your parents and you're gonna get suspended." You're like, "Stop it." Like that's how you're supposed to handle shit like that. You're supposed to discourage it completely. You're not supposed to hug the kid. And those were the kids I stayed away from.
In his 30s.
Absolutely not. I walked straight up to his face and I handed him a handwritten love letter at 12 years old. And he felt stoic, I think. He didn't, I told my 12-year-old daughter what I did, and she was mortified. She goes, "Oh my God, Mom, did he take you to guidance?" I go, No, he didn't take me to guidance. He didn't tell anyone. He put it in his back pocket, and, there was no oversight.
So he wasn't trying to dissuade you from this massive crush that you had. Again, at age 12, was there something that he did to encourage it? Like, I'm just trying to find the balance here. Was he doing something to make you? He certainly wasn't discouraging it, but was he doing things to encourage it?
Yeah, I mean, it should have prompted him to set a boundary, and there was no boundary. It was blurred. It was come to open gym. It was happy to see me. It wasn't, there should have been a line drawn immediately. This 12-year-old girl is a little crazy. Let's bring in some other adults. It was the opposite of that. It kind of basked in the admiration.
Basking in the admiration of a 12-year-old girl, which is so gross. I mean, you think about it, you're a mom too.
Sick. It's absolutely sick. Think about that. Getting off on it. 12 years old. Somebody that needs your help and support. Someone that's relying on you. When I said there were those experts, because there are certain teachers in school, special ed, different teachers that kind of specialize on the troubled kids. But I don't see him as being an expert because he's handled everything wrong. An expert wouldn't be doing the things that he was doing. They wouldn't be getting off on it.
So am I. So
real weird.
Walk me through the time at 12 years old, you're doodling, and I think we've got some of the pictures from your scrapbook from when you were a kid. You've been making all these doodles, like I'm Robert Devine's girlfriend, with the initials together. Like here we are, I am RCD's girlfriend, RCD forever. Real love doodles of a little girl. What happened when you found out that he was getting married? He was engaged.
It was almost like he hid it from me. Weird also. But yeah, the day I found out, I mean, I was weeping. It was a huge heartbreak for me. I didn't even know he had a girlfriend. I'm 12 years old. I shouldn't have known that anyways. So I found out he was getting engaged, or he was engaged, and I just wept, and I couldn't even handle it. And he clearly noticed and knew why, and he wanted to solve it. He wanted to fix it. So I call it the closet incident. I was not sexually assaulted at all, but he brought me into this gym closet. And
say Ashley Banfield, News Nation, this is a great interview. She does a great job. That's the other reason I'm so glad she did it. If she's got to only do it once, do it on national TV, nail it, have a woman interview her like Ashley Banfield. This was perfect. And number two, this is the part right here that Ashley Bell was very upset and crying about the other night to me on the video call. And I saw it in her eyes. Not the other night. It was during the day. I was walking a dog, actually. When she called me, it was about this part right here because we just watched it all, right? Robert Devine was not honest about this, what happened. What Ashley's going to tell this is what I love about this. This dude got to lie. Ashley gets to tell the truth on national television.
It's funny. He remembers how the door always was with the desk and the chair, but it's weird because he definitely closed that door. I'll never forget that day. He closed the door, not fully. He pushed it back with his hand, and it was open about this much, but it was closed. And then he brought me behind a wall where you could not see from the doorway. So he said that, and that's wrong. He lifted me up. He put me on a desk. He kissed me on the forehead. He gave me a big old hug. And I was 12 years old, and he looked me dead in the eye, and he said that I was a knockout. Now, he remembers saying, we got a big age gap. You know that. And I actually forgot he said that, and my heart sunk when I heard him say that in the testimony. So he remembers that, but he doesn't remember calling me a knockout, and that when I'm 18, I need to come find him because he's going to take me out. That's what he told me at 12 years old, sitting on a desk.
On the day that you're apoplectic, you're in tears because you find out that the crush that you have on him is dashed. He's now going to get married, and he takes you into a back closet, shuts the door, picks you up, puts you on a desk, kisses you on the head, hugs you, and says, you're a knockout, but there's an age gap. And when you're 18, I'll essentially come back for you, and we'll be together?
Yep, he said that. He said that. Alone in a closet to me.
Okay, that's...
I was crying.
That is just super appalling. Again, I need to remind our viewers, if you're just tuning in, Ashley Bell is with me. She was 12 when...
This interviewer, thank God she did this. This was so well done. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect interview. Ashley Banfield with Ashley Bell telling the real story. This friggin' creep. Wait till you're 18. That is so sick. Yeah, and Ashley is helping. That's the big thing for her on this. She's helping Sandra. Oh. I was happy that it happened this way. Usually, in the past, I would have been upset, like, "Oh, the National, they scooped the story. I wanted her on," but I was kind of freaking. I was like, "How?" One of my mods had suggested Sam Benigno do it with me because she's like trained in this stuff, and I was considering that as well. But now I'm glad. I'm glad. Maybe the first and only time she does an interview, it's perfect. She did it. We can play it. If she feels more comfortable in the future, she can always come here. She knows that. But I'm just so glad how well this turned out for her. And News Nation, I'm very happy about this. This is like, we'll continue to play it, especially after when she called me, because she needed to get this out.
She says this happened. So now talk to me about the love letter that you wrote to him, because at this point you're now visiting him at the police station, like you're a regular visitor there, and you take a love letter to him to the police station. Walk me forward from there and tell.
Let me just answer one question too. I just got here. Is the young lady on the right? Well, let me read this a little closer. I just got here. Is the young lady on the right also a victim of Divine, but just came forward to offer info on him? What do you, in terms of public discussion, I think this is the first time she's been public in the media doing this. I know for a fact she has been speaking about this to people. that she's had conversations with people in the media and especially law enforcement. That's all I'm going to say on that. She has cooperated. She has fully cooperated. So it's not really the first time that people have known about her in the background, and especially the law enforcement circles. They have talked to her. Trust me on that. But in terms of speaking in public, I think this may be the first time. And this is hard for her. This is not like this is, yeah. She don't know how you're going to come off. And it's not straight laced. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if someone actually touched you. You know, she was touched, but not like not completely. How do I say this? You know what I'm saying? There's a gray area here, right? He can easily play the gray area, but it's sick. It's what he did is sick. And it's a mind F. That's really what this is, right? And it's abusive. And someone that needed support, and then she sees what happened with Sandra. So this was, I am so glad for this interview. Can you tell?
Tell me what happened next.
Okay, so the first love letter was about the first week of school in September. The second love letter happened well after the closet incident, which he somehow combined the two. So, liar. So the second love letter, I wrote a rough draft, and
I don't want to keep stopping it, but I think this comment is really good to keep it in perspective. This is why I didn't want to put any pressure on Ashley to come on my show at all. I'm there for whatever she needs. She said, Starn 8T says, every time a victim shares a story, they are re-traumatized. And that is the truth.
left it in my room, and I went to the police station, I handed him the final copy. I handed the disc, whoever was behind the desk, I don't know who, a man. And I said, can you put this in Rob Devine's, and he went and put it in the office because Devine wasn't in. And it must have been the next day. My mother found my rough draft in my room, and she was not happy. I think she found it when I was in school. And she didn't tell me what she did, but I heard her talking to my father, eavesdropping, and she said she stormed in there. She said, what is this? My rough draft. And he kind of like stuttered, and he pulled my copy out of his trash. And my mother was so upset because he didn't tell anyone about it. He just went, threw it right in the trash. So, I mean, this is 2001, 2002. So, I mean, my mother tried her best. She yelled at him, and that was pretty much it with that second love letter. And then I joined the Explorers very shortly after that.
But shockingly, he never made any comment to your parents or to counselors or anybody that maybe this little girl who's 12 needs a little help. She's got a fixation on me. No mention to anyone. Let me ask you this, and this is a tough question, Ashley. When you learned of Sandra Birchmore, and you learned that she was in the Explorers group, and you learned that she had taken her own life only to be discovered that she didn't take her own life, she was murdered, what was your reaction?
When I first found out about it, honestly, I couldn't sleep. I will say I couldn't sleep. I cried. It was almost like puzzle pieces came together, and I was shocked and disgusted and nauseous, but I almost wasn't surprised that it was the Farwells, and Devine was even involved a little. And I thought she had killed herself. At the time, and I thought that was the most tragic thing I had ever heard in my life. Like I said, I couldn't sleep because, once I read the details, her and I started out exactly the same way. Exactly. I know exactly how that girl felt. I know exactly how she felt. And she, I moved. I was lucky I moved. But she really bore the brunt. She bore the heavy weight of it, and she, cost her life. And I see exactly how that
Ashley.
happened. I was her.
I I cannot thank you enough for being so candid with us tonight over something that's obviously traumatic, and I'm really appreciative of you telling your story. Thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot. I was just really upset to see his testimony and how much he lied. And he's a weasel coward. And I know he's not going to see this interview.
I love when I clicked out a little too early. Sorry, but I love when she called him a weasel. That was that was the best. She got to call him a weasel on national television. How good was that? Yeah, I think we've all in my high school and other gyms I've been into. A lot of these gyms have little equipment rooms. They're almost like closets, but you can fit a desk in there. I have a feeling that's, or it could have been like a custodial closet as well, where they have cleaning supplies. We've all seen those closets in schools, especially gyms, right? So I have a feeling that's what type of little area it was, what she called a closet, which Jen is saying it was a very small office for the gym teacher. A lot of times that's where they keep the balls and the equipment and the uniforms and all that stuff. And you can call it a closet because it doesn't have any windows. Anything that doesn't have windows is technically a closet generally. So I think the definition applies. And I've seen those closets in schools where they do have desks in them at times. The poll, we ran a poll, which was interesting to see because this came up today. People are all worked up about politics. Some of these right wing guys, and I said, "What do you consider yourself? Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above?" Number one, Independent, just like me, 39%. Number two was none of the. Oh no, actually, number two was Republican, very close with none of the above and Democrat. That's like even split. But Independent won. More people, the majority in the audience consider themselves like me as an independent. Silent majority. We're often the ones that don't want to talk about politics because we feel like you're all crazy. Calm down. What are we talking about? That's what I always say. What are we talking about? And that dude did talk about the standard deduction. It has gone up. He is right about that. It's not that much though. It went up like $1,000. I mean, it seemed like I was getting more back on my health insurance, bro, than $1,000. If I'm recalling right, it was about 2,500 at least, if not more. I think it was like 3 or 4. I don't know. That seems like not a good deal for me as a single filer to get like $1,100 deduction when I could have gotten, I don't know. I bet it was more like 4,000 a year or 5,000. I don't even know. It seems like you get a lot more with that healthcare deduction, bro. So let's do the math. So we're going to be later live at 6 p.m. tonight with Robbie Roadsteamer, my old friend Robbie. You better be here tonight. It's going to be something. I need a little support. I'm a little nervous. I am nervous. Robbie can be difficult. I don't know if I'm going to get nice Robbie or difficult Robbie, or he could take over the show tonight. He could destroy me. He's a comedian. Better watch out. We might take some calls too. If you know Robbie, you want to say hi to him tonight, we might take your calls. Be here, 6 p.m. Let's check out Robbie. Like, for people that don't know, let's just look up Robbie right now. He's huge on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, especially. And on YouTube too. YouTube, let's just bring up his Wikipedia. Can I bring that up? Is that possible without logging in? All right, this is Robbie. He's an artist, film producer, musical comedian. He has produced and appeared in 5 seasons of Quiet Desperation, which he cast me in. I was actually played a bit part. I was the music manager for Robbie, which was actually like real life because I wasn't his official music manager, but I used to book him on events and hook him up with stuff, and he would hook me up with stuff. Like he would do things for me. But I would book a lot of shows, so he basically put me in his TV show as something I really didn't have to act. I just was playing myself basically. Until he got a funny comedian to take the part. Like the guy who took that part was hilarious, Chris Coxon. He really did the music manager well. He was funny. Robbie's also known as Robbie Road Steamer, a fictional comedic persona portrayed on WBCN radio in Boston for several years. And, he led his band with that. He was also on, it's funny they only list BCN. He started off at AF, and then he went to BCN, and then he's been on the Sports Hub as well. So he's done a lot of local radio, but he's also worked with a lot of rock musicians, professional wrestling stars, including China, Jimmy, what's that guy's name? Jimmy, the manager. He's been on Sox Appeal on New England Sports Network, the dating show. It was the best episode of Sox Appeal ever. Totally. He predicted a David Ortiz double during the broadcast. He did. That's how good Robbie is. He can predict things. He's 2009 Andy Kaufman Awards recipient. He took second place in the competition. He also teamed up with Jennifer Coolidge to sing Happy Birthday to Jennifer's dad at the Wilbur Theater in 2011. And that is Stifler's mom. He's also done collaborations with Vermin Supreme. Jimmy Hart was the guy, the wrestler I was talking about that he's done work with. He's also been on the Gong Show. I forgot about that one. He was hilarious. He was on the Gong Show. I don't know if people saw that. He's also appeared in Ellen on season 15, episode 38. He's heckled Steve Bannon. We'll probably play that video today. This guy has been around for decades. He's a friend of mine. Haven't talked to him in a while. He's doing really well. His shit's blown up. And I'm really looking forward to having him on the show tonight. It's going to be fun. Yes, he did. He heckled Bannon. We'll probably play that video tonight. It's pretty funny. I think Steve Bannon actually got a chuckle out of him. He's like, Steve, let's go do an insurrection at the Burger King. Let's raid the Burger King. And Bannon's looking at him like, what? It was funny. He also got Hulk Hogan a couple times. Hulk Hogan doesn't like him. I think Bannon actually was laughing. He was chuckling. I think Bannon, being in the entertainment scene, Bannon used to be a Hollywood producer, so I think he got a chuckle out of it. Hollywood Hulk Hogan didn't seem to get the entertainment aspect. I don't know. It's funny because I think Robbie Road Steamer is kind of based on Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura, and Hogan didn't get it. Hulk Hogan didn't like it. I don't know. It's pretty funny. So we'll see you tonight, 6 p.m. I'm going to redirect you right now. Make sure you hit the notification button. Come back at 6 p.m. We're going to take some calls for Robbie too as well. And he is hilarious. Robbie is, like I said, we don't know what's going to happen tonight. He might take over my show. I'm prepared for it. All right, I'll see you all later at 6 p.m. Thank you so much. Have a great break because I expect you back. It's not a great night. It's not going to be a great night until you come back at 6 p.m. and watch Robbie Road Steamer here on the Young Jerks. Please come back at 6. I'll see you then, everyone. Bye.